If you're looking for a lord to take on the Empire, then I've got one for you in the form of Wargames Exclusive's NecroCyborg Grivus. Okay, so taking a look at Wargames Exclusive's NecroCyborg General Grivus. I think we all know where this is going. So, pop it out. Let's see what we get. So, mostly resin. There is, that's a 40mm plastic, hard plastic base. Weirdly, I only discovered that a couple of days ago, that they do textured plastic bases. They do like 32mm set of them. Set of 20 for like €5. It's ridiculously cheap. So that's nice. Maybe we'll see more from them in that regard. Sandy base, some skulls, a bit of brass casing. It makes sense. We all know what it's going to be used for. Some sprue gates to clean here, and then big chunk of resin with a dead commissar of some description and feet looming over this Necron-esque destroyed pillar. So I'm sure there's a way to set that on there that will be appropriate. Now, build-wise then, we have our torso, good clean cast, lovely level of detailing, a little bit of flash there, mostly brushed it away with my finger. I imagine the sprue gate must have been between the legs, because I can't see it anywhere else. But that cast is absolutely exquisite. Beautiful detail. We have our head, which should come as no surprise to anybody. You can see the alien intelligence peering out. We'll sit into there. Cue rack and cough noise now. We have two legs, presumably then fitting into the feet in some fashion. Oh yes, so the top of the foot has a square recess. That will need cleaned down slightly. I think that was the sprue gate for this. And I imagine the other leg is exactly the same as it climbs over the top. It very much reminds me of the first time we meet Grivus in the Clone Wars, and I mean the real Clone Wars by Genndy Tartakovsky. Not that terrible digital thing where you see him literally picking up Jedi with his feet and slamming them into things. The arms themselves look like they are keyed, so they will only fit in one way. Oh, and they're even marked. I don't know if you'll be able to catch that. That bottom one is marked 2, and the top one is marked with a single dash, and then 3 and 4 in Roman numerals. So assembly shall not be a difficult problem for anyone. Just follow the numbers. I would suggest going in order 1 and 2 because of the overlap. We'll see in a minute. I will be building it myself. But yeah, we have these Kopesh-like weapons, of which he has 3 in his arms. Also very fine detailing on the vambraces and back of the hand, and even knuckles. Yeah, there's some lovely detail on the knuckles. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up, but they are beautifully rendered. His final hand is not holding his sword, and the final sword is not a complete sword, so I imagine it is embedded in either the ground or this chap. In fact, it looks like it may go into there. I shall see when I come to build it. But yeah, so there we have most of the body. Last thing is Grivus's cloak with this hexagon pattern that we're used to for the Necrons, but strangely is also very fitting for Grivus because he has something very similar on the inside of his cloak that he wears in Star Wars. Every individual hexagon tied together, and then some detail on this. I suppose it could be a rope or braid coming down from these gems, and another one on this side. Sprig at the top. We shall see whether or not that is hidden in the build. So I shall be back in a moment. So I'm back, and General Grivus is being assembled. It went together fairly easily, actually, surprisingly, bar one part, which I'll get to in a minute. As you can see, multi-limbed. The cloak around him with the tassels. So the cloak itself, you will need to heat that up to get these 2 points to contact. It's very flush, whereas it needs to be curved to get round there. I would suggest building arms first, and even though the arms are numbered 1 to 4, you want to put the topmost arm in first, because the bottom arm often has a small part cut from it, so like a demi cut out of it, just so that it butts flush against the arm above. If you put it in the other way around, you'll find you won't be able to get these arms in. So top arms on, which I think is like 2 and 4, and then drop in the bottom arms afterwards. Legs, I put both the legs on and then attempted to put them onto the feet that are molded to the base. What I should have done was glue one leg in flush and then glue the other leg to his hip, because these ended up being slightly wider than the contact points, which meant I had to try and heat those up and get them into position, and then hold them there before applying the glue. It was just a bit fiddly. It would have been easier to try and attach them individually rather than both at the same time, because having glued both on, there's no wiggle room in them. So if you have got them slightly skew, if you're, well, not in a bad place, but you can make life easier for yourself. Casting wise, majority of the model is beautiful. There are some noticeable seam lines on the top of the sword blades, but then they are also very easy to clean off. You have the sprue gates actually attached to the tops of these as well, so you have quite a bit of sprue, as you may have noticed. But once those are in place, you can just trim that back with a knife. The rest of the model is very, very crisply cast indeed, even down to the basing, where we have these little molded skulls. They're actually are keys for the resin topper to lock into, so there are recesses for those, and then they hold the base in the correct position because you've got that undulating surface. So overall, it's a dramatic figure, and I think it's one that a lot of people will like to include for a bit of variety in their Necron forces. You can use it in other games like Stargrave or Rogue Stars or things like that. Overall, he is 40 mil from foot to eye. However, from base to the top of his head, he is closer to 60 millimeters. If we come all the way up to the top of these doohickeys. But yeah, General Grivus, really nice figure. Really nice pastiche of everybody's favourite cyborg from the prequels. So that is Wargames Exclusive. There we have it once again, another beautiful sculpt from Wargames Exclusive. Absolutely superb cast, and really interesting sort of look to the whole figure. He does remind me very much of the first time we met him in Genndy Tarkovsky's Clone Wars, slamming Jedi into the side of a wrecked ship. So yeah, if you fancy an interesting painting project for your Necrons, then I think Grivus could be the way to go. He's certainly a standout model on the tabletop. But let me know what you think below, folks. I'm going to move on. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.